How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Warren Family Projects and Reviews. Today we're going to be installing a 240 volt outlet. A few people have questions about how to do that, so we're going to go over that real quick. Now, I'm not a licensed electrician or anything like that. I can do a little bit of everything. That's kind of why we started this channel. So let's get started. All right, I've already ran my wire to the receptacle over there. And I've already ran the wire into the breaker box. Kind of save a little time. That's pretty simple. And show you the outlet here. This is the actually it goes to the ground side up. This is the 240 volt or 250 volt outlet that we're going to be installing today. Now you see it has 1, 2, 3 prongs. That tells me that we can use a 12-2 wire or whatever gauge wire you would be needing. In this application, I only need to be using a 20 amp breaker, so I can get by with a 12-2 wire. If you was needing a 30 amp breaker, you would need a 10-2 wire, and so on and so forth, depending on how many amps you need. Originally, I was thinking I needed a 12-3 wire, which contains 4 wires. And but I got to looking at the plug, and I said, no, it only has 3 plug-ins, so that tells me again that I need a 12-2. What it is you have your black, which is your hot, your white, which is your neutral, which would now be your hot, and your ground wire. So normally when you're installing a single pole breaker, you would put your hot wire to your breaker, your neutral and your ground wire to your neutral bar over here. Well, since we have a double breaker, and I'll show you what that is in just a second, we're going to put the black wire and the white wire as hot wires into the breaker and just use the ground wire going into the ground bar. All right, let me show you this breaker. All right, here's what I call a double breaker or double pole breaker. And the difference is it's basically 2 breakers in one versus a single 20 amp breaker. Both of them are 20 amp breakers. Just this one's 240 volts. This one's 120 volts. All right, so what the difference is each side of this breaker box, this side and this side, each one of them have prongs going in for this side and then opposite on this side. And what it is each side's 120 volts. So when you connect 2 of them with a double breaker, you're doubling your voltage to 240 volts. And that's how you get 240 volts or 220 volts or 250. So let's go ahead and install the breaker. See how this goes. Sometimes they're hard, especially these new breakers. Sometimes I don't want to go in there too easily. So don't be afraid to put a little pressure on it. Sometimes it's what it takes. So now we have it in there. All right. Now you want your wiring to be nice, neat, and all that. So we're gonna go ahead and bring this ground wire around, down. You want it to be neat for a lot of reasons, but mainly for safety. You want everything nice and neat for safety. Safety is always number one. But it is not worth doing it if you're not going to be around to use whatever it is you're working on in the first place. I'm sure your family would want you around. All right. And never work on a breaker box while the power's still on it. One slip of a screwdriver, it costs you your life, cause a bad shot. You don't always get lucky when it comes to being electrocuted. Sometimes people accidentally touch something, get a little tingle, think it's funny and stuff, but it's not. Let me zoom in here so you see what I'm doing. I have installed this ground wire, I think maybe you can see a little better now, to my ground pole. Now I'm going to install my white, which is normally a neutral wire, will be your hot wire, and your black, which is your hot wire, into the double breaker. Loosen them up. Kind of get what size you need. Always trim it up. Put it in. Make sure you tighten them down good. Don't try to kill it. Make sure it's connected. Do the same thing with your black wire. Again, take a little pride in what you're doing and make it neat. Keep it neat. It'll take but a few more seconds to do it the right way. And sometimes, if you need to make a trip to the town or wherever to get the right tool or the right piece to do whatever it is you're doing, it's most likely worth it in the long run. So go ahead and take a little extra time and do it the right way. Alright, so now we have the double pole, double breaker, 20 amp breaker installed. It's now wired into the breaker box. Now we just need a wired receptacle. Alright, you have your top to the ground, and then your powers. Now it doesn't matter which one you use because they're both power, both coming from the same place, same voltage. I'm going to put my ground in. Actually, I better start with the bottom ones first. Go ahead and put these in. Again, make sure they're tight. Make sure your connection is good and tight. You don't want to be pushing this thing back in the outlet here and it come loose and you not know it. All right, push it back in here. Sometimes that wire can be tough to bend to get it how you want it, but you will get it there. All right. Put it on in. I don't know if y'all can see that there. I might have been in the way of the camera the whole time. That's what it looked like. Any of you might be a little OCD just wondering why this receptacle is lower than this one. Because I plan on putting another one right above it. I say I plan on it. Plan on getting another welder, which is also going to be a 220 welder. But it takes a different plug-in. Now I could change the plug-ins possibly. We'll see about that when it gets here. When I get to that point, I may do that, keep the same plug-in. Or I may not because I plan on just keeping both of them plugged in at all times anyway. So makes sense to have two outlets and just do it the way they come. Most of the time, the wiring, the connector is stronger on the factory plug-in than it is when you put a plug on it. And you got to put the plug in on it and get it all in there and tape it up and stuff. On the ones that you're not going to be really plugging in and taking in and out the plug-in a lot, the socket, that's not really too big a deal. But on plugs that you're going to be pulling in and out and stuff, it's just better to keep a factory plug-in if you can. All right, other than putting the cover back on the box, the breaker box, that is it. It's pretty simple. That is how you wire a 240 volt outlet. As always, please remember to hit the like and subscribe and keep up with the Warren family projects and reviews. Hopefully soon we can get the rest of the family on here. So whether you want to watch the reviews the videos to learn something, or just keep an eye on the family or see what we're doing next, whatever, please join on in. Remember to hit the like and subscribe. Have a good day.